right, as usual, every Tuesday, same time from this hour, we bring you the Legal Tuesday, whereby we enable you to understand on various legal matters. Welcome to this program today, where we have lined up a series of activities between now and 12 p.m. My name is Paul Kagi, and we are here together with my colleague Mangi Chongola. Before we go there, just to remind you of the topic of the day, that today we are talking about the insurance laws in Kenya. The insurance laws in Kenya. I believe in one way or another, you have ever found yourself in an insurance company to go and seek some services from there. How did you find the services? Or maybe you have ever tried to go to look for services, but you shied away for many reasons. And therefore today we are going to help you to understand more about insurance laws. Maybe you owe land, you owe properties, you have anything, name them, but they need to be covered by insurance. So today, if you have ever gone to an insurance company and got some services, whether you are happy or not happy, we are going to deeply talk about those issues, and therefore welcome to today's program. Our question today, we are asking you, do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Our SMS number 23814, our WhatsApp number 0721 105 and 105. We are trying to seek from you, when you went to seek services from an insurance company, whether you found an unconducive environment, unconducive policy, things like that. You can tell us if you found one to help you even to talk about it. Our SMS number 23814, for our WhatsApp number 0721 105 105. And today we are having guests in the studio. I'm going to give a chance to introduce himself from the advocate of High Court. But before I do that, Mangi Chongola is in the house as usual every Tuesday. Karibu sana.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Kagi. A very good morning to you.
Thank you.
I hope you're also having a great week. Just as you said, this is a very important and very interesting conversation that we are going to have, because I believe we have so many insurance companies, insurance organizations in the country. We have so many Kenyans, most of them even those who are watching us, who have maybe insured some of their properties and maybe even some of their services, their businesses with these insurance companies. Of course, walking in the streets, we'll hear some Kenyans complaining that maybe they did not get the right services that maybe they had anticipated or they had expected from a particular insurance company. Some of them maybe have also complained that when it came time maybe for them to get maybe compensation from a particular insurance company, that company disappeared, Kagi, and so many other complaints that, of course, we've ever had. But just as you said, our guest, Wakili, will be here to tell us what are some of the things, what are some of the laws, what are some of the rules that one needs to know, one needs maybe to put into consideration when you're going for a particular insurance company, a particular insurance policy. What is the obligation of an insurance company, the obligation of you, the person benefiting from this insurance, and so much. Kagi, very, very interesting conversation to have.
All right. Once again, we are talking about the insurance laws in Kenya, and our question today is, do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? 23814, our SMS number. For WhatsApp number 0721 105 105. Karibu sana Wakili. Many days. How are you? Yes.
Welcome again.
Yes. You're doing fine?
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Karibu tena.
To be back.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, before we continue, I think today I can give you a chance to introduce yourself for our audience to understand who you are and what you do.
Yes. Well, I think those who have watched us here, my name is Geoffrey Ondieki Ayuka. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya since the beginning of 1992. I've been practicing in Nakuru since 1997. I do general work, there is insurance involved. I'm excited about today's topic, although it will require 1 year to discuss, but we'll try to do our best. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
And of course, when you hear about insurance, wakili,
Yes.
there are many people who have been seeking services in insurance companies. But first, we can ask ourselves a question before even we dig deeper into the issue of the legal aspect of insurance. Why should we go and insure whatever we have? What is the importance?
Insurance has a very, very long history in commerce. Originally, it started with the merchants that were crossing the Atlantic from Europe to America. So it started in a coffee shop, a discussion among a group of people who are saying that we have these goods. We want to move them from the coast of Italy to the United States of America or Southern America. So they said it started like the betting that people do commonly these days. If you give me this amount, and if you lose your goods at sea, I will be able to cover the value of the goods. So it started like a discussion.
Who was covering that? The shipping company, or?
The shipping company could pay some money to a merchant in Venice,
Yes.
in Italy, and the merchant will guarantee that if the goods don't get to the south, to America, or to Africa, or to wherever they were going, I will give you this amount of money in compensation, either the full value of the goods or an agreed amount of money. So it developed into all the products you see around: fire, motor vehicle third party, motor vehicle comprehensive, business, land, and all those kind of things. But that was the beginning. And really that is the purpose of insurance: compensation in case of an insured event taking place.
Yeah, and of course we have a drama to be able to understand more of this. But before we go there, do you, because we have been in this profession for long,
Yes.
do you see if there was a need and the value for the mutating of the insurance aspects?
Insurance is very broad and very, very, very important for commerce. Unfortunately, the insurance aspects that get to the public domain, the motor vehicle third-party risk insurance, the accident insurance that people interact with, the fire insurance when your stall at the market burns down and you are insured, then they blame either the energy company, Kenya Power, or yourself, and you don't get compensated. The bigger part of insurance is never experienced by the people. And the other insurance, of course, is the life insurance, the endowment policies that we take for children. Those ones are common and people understand them. But there is a bigger, broader area of insurance that is not in the public domain, and it is never discussed. Maritime insurance to insure goods across the seas. All the vehicles you see here that have come from Japan were insured in transit. And they were insured from Japan to Mombasa or from Japan to the showroom in Nakuru. So those are aspects of insurance that we have not perhaps interacted with. Okay. But in general terms, insurance is a very important aspect, and you need to know exactly the exact insurance policy you want, its purpose, and its terms. Then you benefit from it.
Yes. Wow. I think Mangicho will pick from there after the drama. Yes. But just to remind our audience who are watching us this morning that if you have a question regarding to insurance area or insurance laws, you can post your question to us on 23814 or 0721-105-105. That is the WhatsApp number. But also we are asking you, do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Do you have, or do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy you can share with us this morning? And then we are going to look at that matter. Before we go far, we have a skit to help us to elaborate more on the insurance laws in Kenya. Have a watch on.
Mtoto ilikuwa 100. So far, watu wenye wametoa pesa yote ni 10,000. Peke yake, imagine.
Hata MCI hajaweka
2 weeks imesalia. Mama yeye alikuwa amepledge 5K. Hajatuma hata.
We really need this money.
Na Auntie Nancy umeona
bado.
Yule dada yangu na yeye
Imesimamia hapo watu wengi wenye wameflect.
Ananitumia message ati yako busy. Hey, kulikuwa na rafiki yangu wa karibu sana kwa US. Let me call him.
Hebu jaribu, maybe atanisaidia.
Hata my sister achukue.
Sasa running out of time.
100,000 sasa itatoka wapi?
Hii namba hata ingine.
Na by the way umesema ati alikuwa anaenda wapi ndani
Alikuwa anaenda town. Matatu ndio hiyo kagongana. Hao wengine walikuwa kawa na minor injuries. Lakini huyu nakwambia ni mguu inawekwa chini. Mguu inawekwa chini.
Mama itakuwa shida. Unataka pesa imenyamazia hapo tena.
Hata inanikuongezeka kila siku. Inaongezeka.
Akilala inaongezeka, akilala inaongezeka.
Yule mama pale kona ulimjaribu?
Huyo kwanza aliniambia kuna deni namkimbisha.
So hajatoa hata kitu.
Alipledge 3,000 lakini hajatoa hata.
Mimi hawa ninapigia hawapatikani.
Ndio huko.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Asante. Karibu sana.
Umefikisha wapi? Sasa hii mambo inatupa stress sana.
Imekuwa ngumu.
Nakwambia kupata 10,000. Sasa 100 itafika aje?
Hata mimi nikikuja hivi na barabara, nimekuja nikifikiria. Madhe sijui kama unaweza kumbuka ule mzee Mokorino ule alifanya accident siku ile akienda Busia, akienda mazishi. Unajua yeye alilipo na hao mwenye hiyo Nissan.
Wakalimlipa aje?
Hata wewe si unajua mambo ya insurance.
Tumezunguka hivi na wewe unajua hii maneno nini?
Mimi nimekuja nikifikiria
insurance inalipaga. Lakini hiyo gari mnaweza jua ilikuwa inakaa ilikongwa aje?
Hapana. Sasa mwenye gari si ndio tunatakana tufuate.
Ni ukweli.
Tuulize.
Yeye na nafaa tunateseka hapa ni
insurance mara mingi.
Hapana, sasa hiyo si shida yetu. Ikiwa
si tunataka ndo tulipe.
Yes, ikiwa huyu mzee akitoka matanga alilipwa, hata sisi tufuatilie. Hiyo mambo mnasema ya insurance. Hiyo si shida yetu.
Hii pesa imetukura akili sana.
Tufuatilie.
Tuache kusumbuana na watu.
Wewe fanya hivi. Hapana, washa mambo ya umaskini. Fanya hivi, fuata huyo mtu wa hiyo gari. Umfuatilie uende kwake. Unaona vile amenyamaza? Alituambia atani.
Uko na namba yake bado?
Wewe hebu mshikane, mwende mfuatilie huyo mzee. Ninasikia ati wanalipaga.
Inafaa kulipa. Mimi nimekuja nikifikiria hiyo maneno.
Huyo nilipiwa pesa
zote.
Insurance ilipe gari, ilipe.
Na mpaka sasa hivi ako tu kwa nyumba, ako sawa, yeye kila kitu anashughulikiwa.
Kwa nini hatujuagi mambo kama hiyo?
Ndio tumeteseka hapa.
Lakini madhesi unajua huo mzee na unajua anashughulikiango mpaka sasa.
Mimi sikujua ni nani, tumefikiria ni watu wao walimshughulikia.
Hapana, ni wenye hiyo gari.
Sasa tufanye aje? Tuachane na hii maneno.
Hiyo sasa tunafaa kuclaim hiyo.
Wacha ikae hivyo. Wacha kwanza tufuate hii mambo.
Hata pesa inaweza fanya mambo ingine.
Alafu tutarudi. Asante sana. Tunafaa kuwa na vitu kama hitu tunaerevushwa.
Lakini hata watu wanatakana wafundishwe hii maneno. Kwa sababu sasa mtu kama mimi nasikiaga watu wanalipo. Lakini mimi sijui nikisikia insurance sijui inalipa aje.
Hata tujui gani ndio.
Sasa fanyeni aje juu ya nini hao waanze kushughulika hiyo maneno. Tujue ni aje na mkuje mtuletee ripoti.
Sawa.
All right, and welcome back to the Legal Tuesday, Insurance Laws in Kenya. And of course, Mangicho, have seen what has happened there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from the skit, actually there is need. There is the angle of maybe majority of members of the public, even our audience, to be in a position to be enlightened about some of these policies that they need to take from some of these insurance companies.
And of course, there are many properties that you may own but they need to be secured by insurance, which I think we are going to talk as we continue.
Exactly.
In case of any eventuality, it can be a calamity, it can be an accident, it can be a disaster, it can be a loss.
Yes.
Depending on what you owe. But the most important thing, as you are saying, there's need of what we may call the public information, on the insurance laws to know where it can help you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Wakili, what would you take over that skit there?
It's a well-known problem and very common thing that most people don't know what to do when seeking compensation. The skit is about an accident in a motor vehicle. Fortunately, in Kenya, Cap 405 Motor Vehicles Third-Party Insurance Act it's compulsory to insure against third-party risks. If the person who was injured is a third party, it's not the owner of the vehicle, he has to be compensated by the insurance company. Perhaps the ignorance comes in terms of how do you go about it? Can a citizen walk from his house, go to a police station, report an accident, get an abstract, and go to an insurance company, launch a claim, and get compensated? That is possible, and that is the ideal situation. But because most people take it through litigation, through lawyers and the court, most people usually get an advocate who launches a claim in court or directly to the insurance company. It is possible to settle the matter with the insurance company directly. The second issue arising from that skit is a Kenyan problem. Insurance penetration level has not reached 15% of the population. That is, 100% of the people could be insured, only 15 out of every 100 are insured or know something about insurance. It is both a marketing thing, that is information to the public, and an affording thing, a financial thing. A very large section of the population cannot afford insurance. That's why the common form of insurance, the health insurance that we have, NHIF, that is transiting into another format, usually requires, as required, the government to pay for some sections of the population. So there is an affordability issue. There is also a knowledge issue about insurance. There are people who have a shop, they turn out a profit, but they're not aware that they could insure the goods in the shop, and that they could be compensated for fire, for theft, for workmen risks, and those kind of things. Fraud, workmen fraud. All those things can be covered in an insurance policy. But then people usually don't know that, even those who can afford. Yes.
Yeah, and there's something that Wakili you've mentioned about the policies that are compulsory. Those that are compulsory, those are third party?
There are 2 or 3 policies that I can remember offered that are compulsory. The Workmen Insurance Benefit Act of 2007 makes it compulsory that if you are running an industry, you have to insure the workers that work in that industry. So there's a workman compensation that is compulsory. Then there is the Motor Vehicles Third-Party Risks Insurance Act, Cap 405, that makes it compulsory for every vehicle to have a third-party risk insurance. What we usually call as comprehensive insurance is usually the choice of an owner who wants to also, in case of an accident, to benefit from compensation, to benefit from repairs, to benefit from perhaps a rider that is on the policy in terms of a life policy. The insurance can be, insurance basically is a contract between you and a company. You can decide on what to put in that policy. You can have a policy covering your house, but there's also a rider on your life. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. And I know, Kagi, one of the questions that most people would want to find out, therefore, Wakili, is the insurance companies. So when it comes to registration of insurance companies, what are some of these very, very critical and crucial laws that govern them?
Cap 487 of the Insurance Act, as we call it, is like the Companies Act. It only regulates the mode of registration. But then what has happened around 2010, we started what we call the Policy Protection Act. Then we have the Insurance Regulatory Authority, the RIA. So it's a regulated business, just like we regulate the company registration. But it's a specialized type of company that has been allowed to offer insurance of a particular type. Yes.
Wow.
That is where we have companies that do general insurance, that give endowment and life policies. Others are in the motor vehicle industry. But if you go back to the registry, you'll find that all companies are registered to give all manner of insurances. It's only that some have decided to specialize in a particular area.
In a particular way. So what would be the basic qualifications that one were to consider if they were opting for a particular company compared to another?
What you need, what is your need in this? You want to insure, like take an endowment policy for your son. You will think around and say, which company has been in this business for the longest time possible? Which company has a history of settling claims in this area? Which company is the nearest that has a branch in my area, in Molo, in Nakuru, in Kericho, where I can walk into the office and I tell Mr. Manager, my claim is due, can you assist me process it? So what you think of is proximity, the history of the company, the claim settlement history of the company. In Kenya, most people don't go to insurance. Insurance comes to them. So you need to.
Should be the other way around.
Yes. Yes. The agents will come to you and sell you a policy and explain things to you. But it should be the other way around. Once you've been attracted to.
What would be the cause? What would be the cause of that?
The problem was the penetration problem.
The penetration.
Insurance as a business is not well known, and the necessity of having it does not affect daily life. You are insuring risks. You are insuring future events. So most people could trust luck or God and move into the future, or decide and look for insurance.
And that's a perception, Wakili, that is really very, very much conspicuous out there, because there is the feeling that most people have that maybe they waste money on some of these insurance companies.
Yeah.
It's not a waste of money. Some of the risks that are insured, like sickness, become an eventuality. At some point, you'll find yourself unwell. You will need to be hospitalized. You will need to access expensive medical services. So at that time, anybody who benefits feels very, very good about the decision 10 years ago to take the insurance. There are people, I have insured a car now. I was renewing a logbook the other day. Then I realized that they're telling me that I've been driving for 30 years, 11 months and 4 days since I got my first license. So I have not made a claim on my insurance on motor vehicles. But I've insured the car, any car that I had, always, for those 30 years. And I've never made a claim. I've never gotten a shilling back or anything like that.
And you're grateful you've never had an accident.
Yes, and I'm grateful. But then, when you think about the eventualities, with our roads getting congested, the traffic is increasing. We are now putting on the road about 26 to 30,000 cars, motorized cars in Kenya every year, without counting the borders. So it is worthy taking the insurance and knowing that if something happens, you are going to have somebody covering you.
Before Kagi comes in terms of the premiums that one is supposed to pay, how should it differ from one company to another? Or there are also standards that are also guided by the laws governing insurance.
There are no really standards in terms of the premium you will pay. An insurance company says, this is my market, and makes a decision that since we're going to sell this thing, this policy, this contract, to this group of people, we will add this, that, and that. So what they'll put in that kachumbari of issues inside there, that is what will determine the policies. They may tell you that now we want to insure your mortgage, for example. So once we insure your mortgage, we will pay in case you lose your job or you get an accident, you are unable to pay. But they will tell you, no, as we do that, we also have to give you a life policy on your life. So that will be an expense. You will notice that your mortgage premium is perhaps 23,000. There is a 7,000 somewhere for your life policy and something like that. So it depends on what the insurance company has put together as a package. That is why we keep having the changes. Okay. From you hear a policy is called something, then after 10 years it's another policy, continuously as they study the market. They have underwriters who sit down and say, if we say 10,000 per month is the minimum, we will not be able to sell. So it is it's a marketing structure, and you fit in according to the package you choose yourself. Wow. If you say I'm insuring myself for 1 million shillings for hospitalization, it will be different from somebody who is taking 100,000. Or 200,000. Yes.
So it all goes back down to the agreement between the two parties.
Yes.
Insurance.
That's why we say insurance is basically a contract between a person and a company to cover risks that have a possibility of taking place.
Wow. Yes. And one of the things that I feel many Kenyans are very shy to go and seek for services in our insurance companies is because of the struggle to get compensated. Yes. As much as we are saying that we should go and seek services to the insurance companies, but instead they come to us. But the biggest problem is when it comes now to the compensation. Yes. For example, I had my vehicle which broke down. I need to go to the insurance for compensation. Yes. I was sick, I need to go to the insurance for medical payment and such kind of things. Yes. Now, are there any legal guidance to help Kenyans or people to get their rights after they are seeking compensation from insurance companies?
Sure. At the beginning of an insurance contract, you are issued with a document they call a policy. That policy is a standard form contract from that insurance company. That is, it is the same policy they give everybody. What differs are the benefits and the exemptions in that policy. It is important that because it's written in very small print, and even me, I never find time to read each and every line in an insurance policy. And we always read it when we have a problem. It is better that you sit down with your manager or your insurance agent and ask them, what does this policy of mine cover? You see this? Now, you may take a medical cover that does not cover surgery. You see that? Yeah. Or that does not cover a particular thing in health. So it is important, or pre-existing conditions as they call them, it is important that right at the beginning, as you pay your first premium and receive the document written insurance policy, you go to the agent, go to the person who has issued it, that is the company, tell them that I need your 5 minutes, tell me what is contained here. And write it down so that you know what you're expecting. When your people are taking you to hospital, they know that that cover does not cover this kind of a thing. It doesn't cover us if we don't take him to this hospital or something like that. So you can never discuss about it in general terms. It depends on what is in a particular cover. What is added, what is reduced, what is exempted, what is accepted.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where do you come in as advocates or lawyers in terms of the insurance, maybe even with the public? Where do you come in?
You remember there was a time we discussed the law of contract, and we have said this is a contract. A contract can get resolved in basically 4 ways. Either the contract is fulfilled, that is the insurance company pays, and you have no complaint. The contract may be frustrated. which means some things have happened that were not anticipated in that contract. The contract may be breached. That's where we come in. Now, once you feel that the insurance company is acting in a breach, you can approach an advocate. He goes to court, or he writes to the insurance company, and the matter is either resolved between you and the insurance company, or the matter eventually goes to court as a question of interpreting your contract with the insurance company. Because basically the rules that govern the resolution of contracts are the same rules that govern the insurance contract. Okay. Yes.
So, Sawa, I think time for us to go for a short break has come. Just to remind you, today we are talking about the legal Tuesday on insurance laws in Kenya. We are asking you, do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Do you know of any unfriendly insurance policy? Talk to us 23814 and 0721 105 105. We'll be right back after this short break.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Mkalimani anafanya kazi gani?
Nani?
Mkalimani.
Mkalimani. Mkulima. Mkulima.
Analima nini sana sana?
Come look at this. Analima cabbage. Analima sukuma. Spinach. Nyanya. Mandizi.
Unataka kuambia mtu kwa kizungu kutangulia si kufika. Utamwambia je kwa kizungu?
It's about to go down. Starting is not getting there. Starting is not getting there.
Aya, nitaje mnyama mmoja mwenye anaanza na letter Q. Jina yake inaanza na letter Q.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Gorilla. Gorilla.
So we don't have the capacity.
Helmet kwa Kiswahili inaitwaje?
It's about to go down.
Elementi. Elementi.
At the Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies, TVET College, we combine theory and practice to ensure students develop unique and innovative skills that are required in today's world. RVIBS prides itself as a leader in teaching excellence and a world-class center of research and intellectual creativity. Through our innovative hub, African Tech Space, we nurture students' innovative ideas. As you join RVIBS, we will help you get a grip on your training and providing a personalized study environment as well as an ideal and quiet atmosphere favorable for learning. Seize the moment and grab the opportunity by applying for these market-driven and internationally recognized programs that will unlock your potential. Visit our Nakuru main campus near the railway police station or at Biashara Center, 3rd floor, or call us on 0715 111103. You can also apply at www.rvips.ac.ke.
My name is Pasi Kihumba, the Principal Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies. I take this opportunity to thank our students, parents and supporters for this far. And I also take this opportunity to welcome you into our July and September intake. Welcome to train with us.
Tune in this Thursday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. as we take you through on how you can prepare your breaded fish. It's served with fried rice ama vegetable rice, na pia kuko na salad pale, na pia tuko na sauce pale.
And after that, we do
this is
for the fried rice. This is small cubes should be. So now I will do like sauce tartare. We do like that here. We put onion, cutting onion, small with the mayonnaise. Okay, and you bring the mint.
No, this is for the Tartar sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people they put pickles, some people they don't.
Okay.
The fish, it will be like this way. And now the bread.
Mesema this Thursday from 7:30 to 8 p.m.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Welcome back, and this is the Legal Tuesday on MBCI TV. Today we are having Wakili Ondieki Ayuka, who is an advocate of High Court, and with my colleague Mangi Chomola, talking about the insurance laws in Kenya. And we want to know from you if there are any unfriendly insurance policies that you have come across. You can share with us on 23814 or 0721 105 and 105. Before we dig deep, Mangicho, on the topic, I think we can go Nawakili to the streets and hear what the public are saying regarding to the topic of the day. So you can have a look at this.
So thank you so much for speaking with MBCI. You'll tell us your name, and then you'll tell us what are some of the challenges you have experienced while looking for insurance services, if any, and what could you propose in terms of improvement on insurance issues?
Okay. My name is Cephas Joan Dirango. I am a driver. What are the challenges that I've experienced when using insurance or getting insurance? It's not knowing which one honors premiums, in that you don't know gani we nalipa watu gani alipangi watu. So for example, you are having, there's this list that the IRA, Insurance Regulatory Authority, had given of insurances that were fined for not honoring premiums. So it's hard to know which one as at now is not doing so. So if we are able to have a ranking for insurances on how they gani nalipa gani ailipangi, inaweza kuwa mzuri. Also, if you can have like financial analysts doing analysis of how insurances are doing financially, so that you're able to know that if I get this insurance premium for this year, there's a little bit less likelihood that it will collapse, because you're seeing insurances fall day in, day out. So again, maybe hata mtu anaweza ogopa niweke insurance alafu yanguke, so things like that. So if you had a ranking by Insurance Regulatory Authority, I think it would help some of us, because you maybe go on the internet, check out hii iko sawa, hii iko sawa, hivyo. That can maybe be of help.
Majina naitwa Joseph Karioki. Mimi ni mkaaji wa hapa Maili 6. Wacha niseme sijakatia motorbike insurance juu ya changamoto. Maisha ya gharama imeenda juu. Insurance wanatuitisha pesa mingi. Kwa saa hii pikipiki pesa yenye inatengeneza ni pesa kidogo kuliko yenye wanatuambia tukate hiyo nini. Sasa ningependekeza kama ni insurance waje kutulipisha kama bei ya gari, tulipishwe bei kidogo yenye sisi kama wana youth tudajiweza.
Sawa, asante kuongea na runinga MBCI. Utatuambia majina alafu utasema ni changamoto gani ambazo umepitia wakati unatafuta huduma za bima, na kama ungekuwa na mapendekezo hata ya kisheria, ni mapendekezo gani ungeweza kupendekeza kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba inakuwa sawa sawa na inafanya kazi vizuri.
Okay, my name is Dennis Motemi. When it comes to insurance, you find that you might go look for an insurance, or people come to do their sales. Then when you have an issue, let's say like a claim, when you go to look for their office, you don't see the office, or maybe the company was closed. So maybe if the IRA could have a list, or maybe through a newspaper, they list the insurance companies that have been closed down, so that now those people, they don't swindle the public when they are looking for an insurance cover. And also the other challenge is they need to increase the scope of insurance, what kind of products they offer to the public. For example, the needs of the public are evolving. So if their services could also evolve with the needs of the companies. Let's say, for example, if even the small-scale business people, if they can have a cover that is friendly to their pocket and also that covers their needs based on the kind of business someone is doing. Yeah. Sure, insurance, it is associated with a calamity or something bad happening to you. So everyone would not want to think of something bad happening to them. But we live in a world where we don't know what tomorrow has in store for us. So to secure our tomorrow, or even for those who depend on us, it would be something good. So if we could maybe alleviate the fear of when we come to you to offer you an insurance cover, we are not praying or we are not saying that something bad will happen to you. It's just securing a future or a tomorrow that you actually don't know about. Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking with MBCI.
Thank you, too.
There we go, and that is how the public are viewing the issue of insurance. I'll pick the last guy who trying to bring an aspect of trying to go for an insurance service is a taboo.
Yeah, but
it's like you're trying to prophesy a bad omen to yourself, so they are shy to go and seek their services.
Yeah, I think it's a misconception, Wakili, that needs.
It's a very serious misconception. You are not challenging the gods to bring the calamity. You are only being abundantly cautious. And he answered his own question. He said, you don't know what tomorrow has in store. So since you don't know what may happen tomorrow or may not happen tomorrow, it is important that since this facility called insurance is there, it is good to take it. By the way, I suspect that the country will do very, very well. Like if we had 50% of the Kenyans insured, like medical covers and something like that, the country will do very, very well.
At the moment you're doing badly?
We not yet. I don't think we are 15%. We have not even gotten to 15%. Other than the universal health care thing that is coming, the other services, penetration is very low.
It's very low.
But if you go to developed countries, they are very keen on ensuring their staff, whether it is their health, their life, their properties. They're very keen on that.
Yes.
But there is a gentleman there, Kagi, that maybe Wakili can also respond to these. The 15% you're talking about, and maybe the other percentage that is very large, that has not maybe been able to embrace insurance. Do you agree that maybe it is as a result of the hard economic times, the high cost of living that is facing so many Kenyans?
Yes, it is. The two things are playing side by side. Lack of knowledge of what is available and the lack of financial ability to take up the services of insurance. It's a challenge to the actuaries, the people who are running the insurance policies, and the brokers, and the people we call the people who run insurance companies, to try and tailor their products to the lowest segment and to see whether they can pick up much more business. I think from what the people there were saying, that was a group of 3 people that are very, very informed, because one has already talked about the Insurance Regulatory Authority and why it cannot rank insurance companies according to their financial health and their ability to pay claims. That's a very, very important thing. That is something that I could support, and something that I'm going to inquire about after we leave here, why we do not have periodic reports of the financial health of insurance companies, so that one day you wake up on a Monday, you are told that your company has closed the doors, so you run to the street again looking for insurance.
Actually, that is what I was coming to, Akili, because the gentleman was saying, Kagi, that they fear because you never know. If tomorrow when you go to that particular company, you'll find that it does.
You'll find it there, you'll go to their floor.
I was asking Wakili, can't this one be looked at? Can't this one be put into consideration, even maybe when that particular company was being registered?
The problems arise in, there are times, structural management problems. Insurance company, collects a lot of money that is available in a pool that is supposed to be available to deal with the problems that arise. What happens most of the time to the directors of an insurance company is that they are in between demanding bankers who are telling them, this 1 billion you are keeping here, bring it to my bank, I will give you this percentage on interest. Another company is telling them, we have land in Vipingo, in Kilifi, come buy these 400 acres. By the time this policy is mature, you will have made another 400 million. So they end up speculating. So the problem really is not at the beginning. The problem is that the pool of money that the insured people, the policyholders, have put together into that basket of that insurance company gets misused by management because IRA also does not have the capacity to know what is happening in insurance companies on a day-to-day basis. The board can decide we want to buy 2 buildings in Nakuru. Then the following day, a factory that insured in industrial area burns down, and they now need 100 million to compensate the owner of that factory. And the 100 million has been used to buy the property in town. So those are the structural problems that bring that kind of a complaint.
And when we were watching and listening to those guys, what they were saying about the insurance, there was something that was crossing my mind about the regulations. By the look of things, Wakili, there seems to be very dilute regulations when it comes to insurance companies. And this one is informed by last Tuesday's program, whereby we were talking to the debt collectors, the auctioneers. And by the look of things, the way he was explaining is that that area has a lot of regulations to be able to protect Kenyans. But by the worries Kenyans are showing here, it's as if they are going through something that is very perennial. Poor payments of premiums, not being paid, the struggle, going to court. That means there are no strong regulations over our insurance companies in Kenya.
What has happened is that the Insurance Regulatory Authority that is supposed to do that is now 10 years old. It is not even in its teenage. So it is maturing. They are taking up, I believe, suggestions. I'm going to see, to look at, as I've said, their law on whether they're supposed to report on the financial health of insurance companies regularly and what they're supposed to do about that. But I think it's a developing thing. We do not have these problems because there are no laws. We have these problems because of weak enforcement. There are regulations regulating insurance companies in almost every aspect humanly possible to think about. But then what has happened is that we have the IRA, it is in Nairobi, it is dealing with the headquarters of insurance companies. They don't know that people in Cybers down Biashara Street in Nakuru are replicating policies and giving them to 2 vehicles. If you have 163 and 162, that kind of fraud goes on. So they need to have a presence perhaps in the counties and become more robust. The problem will be funding. IRA is a government agency. Are we going to tell insurance companies to contribute into a basket to regulate themselves? Because once you tell them that, they say, no, we didn't need this. We were regulating ourselves. We were doing our work well without your supervision. So there are those challenges. But I anticipate that if you give it another 10 years, like when they will be doing their 20th, 25th anniversary, insurance in Kenya will be very, very smoothly regulated. Yes.
And okay, there is something that you'd mentioned, and I think quite a number of people have actually encountered this particular challenge, Kagi. In most cases, the documents about the particular insurance policy are normally in a legal language, and therefore you'd find that most of the clients, most of the people who want to buy those particular policies may not really understand. Only for them now, maybe later on, to begin maybe to regret. And what they'll be told is that, but we gave you the document, maybe you didn't understand. Now, what do you think, Wakili, therefore, should one maybe be in a position to do for them to really understand the details that are in a particular policy?
I mentioned before that it is important that you go back to your broker and your insurance company to explain to you and to summarize for you what is permitted and what is not permitted. In Kenya, generally, if you want to hide anything, you write it down. People don't read. So if you want to hide anything, hide it in a book and nobody will ever find it. Yes. Because nobody will touch the book and it will be in your house there on the table for years. But on this one, I think it is important that people go back to the brokers and to the insurance company and they get a summary of what is accepted and what is exempted. From the look of those three gentlemen that spoke there, Kenyans have started to get on to the idea that it is a contract and I have to understand its terms and the conditions. So understanding the basic terms and conditions will require that. But then, as you say, it may require the insurance companies now to start dealing with the people they are dealing with. These Wanjikos here who cannot read those that language should have those policies in perhaps a summary, all translated into a language they can understand, or written in terms that they can understand. Because if I give you a sentence with 20 words, 3 commas, 1 apostrophe, a period at the end, and I tell you to change it, it is very easy for me to do it, but you cannot do it. I can give you 4 meanings of it, but you cannot give me the second meaning of any such a sentence.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like there is an example that quite a number of people normally raise, and I don't know, Wakili, from where you sit, how does the law look at these? We have a Kenyan who has gone to look for a particular policy, and maybe they have started paying their premiums, but along the way they've been unable, maybe because they lost their source of income, they lost their job, maybe their business, and therefore they cannot continue remitting. And maybe an example, this particular person had already remitted maybe like 100,000. What does the law look at it? Now they cannot continue. They have not continued with the journey until maybe they can now be in a position to be compensated. Does the 100,000 shillings just disappear?
Most insurance policies that I've interacted with have a remedy for that. They may say that if you paid 1, 2, 3, 4 premiums, you are now entitled to a refund or to this kind of compensation. It will be very peculiar to find an insurance company that runs a policy that you pay for 2 years and you lose all the money. They usually truncate it in terms of, like, if you're paid to this extent, of course not an unfiable one, not 1, 2 installments, you will be entitled to this kind of majority. So there is usually in that contract something written into it. That's why I was saying, right at the beginning, ask that question. What if I am no longer living in Kenya next year when I will have paid 13 installments? Or what if you are unable to pay after 8 installments? You get to know the condition and deal with it right at the beginning. Yes.
The other question that maybe we also need to find out, there are those who also maybe complain about the longevity when their compensation is now due. And they say there is that back and forth, that we are still waiting, maybe we are still working on it, and how can they actually be helped?
The long period in terms of from launching the claim to receiving the money.
Exactly.
That one is, those are individual cases in individual companies. But if you look at life insurance, for example, most of the time they start with your basic age. They tell you, how old are you? 30 years. So if we give you a policy that matures every 5 years, it will mature when you are 36, 41, and 46. You see that? Right at the beginning, you know that you are investing in this life policy for this kind of maturity. And most of the insurance companies in that area usually keep time, because it is a very long-term investment. You give them very good business. You give them your money for a long time, which they can invest elsewhere and make money. So those ones have no problems. Compensation in accident matters that delay are usually affected by two things. Either the insurance company is not sure about your claim, because we also introduced fraudulent claims in accident matters, or the insured has not fulfilled the term of the policy by paying perhaps an excess in the, or reporting, or making a statement, or writing a formal request for compensation, just a formal request. So the insurance company is having 10 claims that have arrived. The insured party, like the ladies we started with, has not reported to the insurance company to fill and sign off just the paperwork. So those kind of things happen, and there are management things sometimes. Sometimes there are things that arise out of ignorance. There are things that happen sometimes out of an attempt to use your money for a little longer, because we hear stories that immediately they look at the landscape and say, next year we're going to pay 500 million in compensations. They get the 500 million and put it in, invest it in the money market. So they keep giving you a piece of it. They give Mola, they give somebody continuously as they benefit from it. So it's a mix of many things. Yes.
One of the things you could feel as a person, also even from what they are saying, is lack of confidence and knowledgeable of the right company to secure yourself with insurance. Maybe as a wakili, and depending on the cases that you have handled, what are some of the things that if I want to go and insure my property in a company, I should be very keen to observe, and this is a legitimate insurance company? Yeah.
I think insurance companies are like shops in the high street. Once you leave your house and unfortunately you have broken down your thermos flask and you need it the following day, you will go to the high street to look for another thermos. You will know that I can get it in Naivas, I can get it in that supermarket or that shop, or that electronic shop can give me this kind of a service. The insurance companies have been with us now for some running to 80, perhaps 80 years, right from the 40s when the first ones came here. Perhaps there were insurance companies that came. Royal Insurance came with the Kenya Farmers Association in 1920, so they're older ones. So this entire century, they have accumulated their reputation. People know, and it doesn't have to be published anywhere. If you ask the citizens, they will tell you how wanalipa, how wanakuwa na shida. Then there is the other aspect that that gentleman, the last one, raised, that I think the government should assist the citizens with. We must start publishing information about the financial health and the compensation history in summary of insurance companies. So if a company received 100 claims and only compensated 10, let that go to the public that this is what happened. If a company received 100 and compensated 87 and is contesting 3 and is investigating 10, that company should be given its due mark. I don't know whether that is happening. I'm not very, very sure about that. But I think that gentleman raised a very important issue. We should be able to know from the regulatory records who is doing what. But like every other shop, it is a business. You have to take the one that you think the reputation fits you and the market fits. Like the insurance companies that are very good for workmen compensation, you'll find most shops going there, most industries and that kind of a thing. Matatu's owners know which company is, let's use the word trending, because they come and go in that area too many times. So it's a question of reputation and studying the market. Yes.
And also on the same, I'm trying to ask myself also about Are there some items that can be insured? Are there others who cannot be insured? Do you have a bracket on the insurable?
Insurable?
Yes.
It's a very long discussion. Insurable interest in an article and the value. It's a week's topics.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens? Something, in order to be insured, must be of value. You see that?
Okay.
You cannot insure something that does not have value. Right from life to the goods in a go down and all those kind of things. You cannot have speculative insurance. Like we don't know what is inside this box, but we want to insure it. So it has to have some value. That value will dictate most of the time the premium. You cannot insure a dead body because a dead body has no value. There was a time we were discussing something and I told you if you stole a body in a coffin, you will be charged with stealing the coffin and not the body. Because we cannot say that the body was valued at this. The body will go to public health issues, disposal and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So an insurable article must have a value.
Yes. When it comes now to assessment,
yes.
What are some of the issues that are normally considered, and what goes into that? Sometimes we've seen, sometimes we've experienced that fallout between the client and the insurance company. Yes. The client believes that they automatically are justified to be compensated, maybe because of the damage that has happened or maybe the accident that has happened. But maybe in its assessment, the insurance company thinks that maybe there is some recklessness, there is some carelessness, or even maybe whatever it is that the client really wants to be compensated for is not really what. It's not in relation or in tandem with the policy that they took or the bought.
You started from valuation, which is an actuarial question. It's a very complicated area, that one, even for us. How do you value the property, and how do you get to say that the appropriate premium is 10,000? That's a science that is with very few people. Now, once an accident occurs and the insurance company feels that it doesn't cover you for particular aspects, you go back to the contract of insurance, where you told that if this car here is being driven by perhaps a minor, or the car is being driven in such and such a place, was it limited? Was what you are seeking to be compensated for limited by the policy? So it all goes back to the contract. You have to deal with the fact that this was one of the accepted conducts or exempted conducts. Once you have that in clear focus, you and the insurance will never quarrel. You will know that if I allowed my vehicle to be used as for fare-paying passengers and it's a private car, it was clearly not covered by the insurance policy. Or if I allowed my vehicle that is for school children, transport for school children, and it's clearly marked, and it was carrying adults for a wedding to Nyahururu, and it has gotten an accident, you will know that is not, they will not compensate. In fact, most insurance companies insist that if it is a motor vehicle that is for school, it will be used for that purpose only. Perhaps 2-3 adults in that car transporting kids between Kiamunyi and the STEM, that will be what the insurance expects. But when the vehicle gets an accident or is involved in an accident at the Mali on the way to Mombasa carrying wedding guests, the insurance will have the right to refuse to compensate. Because you are using the vehicle in a manner that was not allowed in the policy. In all those cases, you have to go back to what was acceptable, what was not acceptable in the policy. There are private schools that may go to an insurance company and say, no, we can't do that because I'm a private school. I hire my buses over the holiday. The insurance will come and say, okay, let's add that. You can hire them, but you add this amount on your policy. Then it becomes part of the contract. That is the way the problem arises, and that's the way it gets resolved.
Okay.
Yes.
I think before even we go to, I'm interested in knowing about the Hawks. Should I call them Hawks clans or maybe Canning clans? We talk about that. But if my director, if you are ready with the landmark ruling, we can talk about it. And today's landmark ruling is on the Southern Sudan, whereby it was one day declared as the youngest state in Africa and in the world. And of course, you know that if you want to create your own nation, you cannot Mangicho wake up and decide, no, I want us to be independent and become our own nation.
Sure.
You have to go through a legal process, especially being managed by the United Nations. And therefore today, our landmark ruling is on the day the Southern Sudan were made independence, courtesy of United Nations. Today's landmark ruling is on the birth of the new nation, Southern Sudan. South Sudan becomes an independent nation. South Sudan has become the world's newest nation, the climax of the process made possible by the 2005 peace deal that ended a long and bloody civil war. Sudan's President Omar el-Bashir and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon were among international dignitaries who attended celebrations in the capital, Juba.
The United Nations is very pleased to welcome
the legal framework that governs when the country wants to separate from the main country. For example, Southern Sudan was enclaved inside the larger Sudan. We also have a country called Eritrea, which was from the Ethiopia. And one country which is having a hard time to be declared a state by the UN is called Somaliland, which separated from the larger Somali country. Today, if you're found associating yourself with Somaliland diplomatically, of course you'll be separated by the international community. Wakili, how do you say about this?
Southern Sudan is a tragic case of the reality that a child born out of conflict will never grow well. That is a saying from the people in Congo, the Lingala speakers. I know it in Lingala, I don't know how to translate it.
Yes.
Southern Sudan is went through all the processes from observer status, then it became a country. The conflicts that have been brought there by the political class that took over power from the northerners, the potential of a country that is bigger than Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda and Burundi put together, but then that cannot be able to govern itself properly. It's a very, very large country, because if you are in on the northwestern most of Kenya, and you cross the border, you're in Southern Sudan. The other border will be the border with Chad.
Chad?
Yes, on the other side. So it's a very big area, but it's an African problem generally. If you took Yorura and cut a line between Senegal in the deep west, all across to Malindi, you draw a line, and start counting the number of conflicts that are in between on that line. There are too many. It is good that they got independent, but it is important that they come, they resolve their conflicts and start governing that country. It's a country that can feed the entire of East Africa without you going to your farm. It's a very fertile, very big, very
and
large.
in oil.
And rich in oil. Yes.
It's fertile, eh?
Yeah.
They don't do a lot of farming. I don't know.
It is the curse of plenty. Those who have plenty of things, they never use them. You'll be surprised that most dairy farmers don't take milk. So it's It is that kind of a thing. I don't know how it comes. It is nature balancing itself.
Yes.
Southern Sudan is like if you took a bus ride from the border of Uganda and you want to go to the north, you are 1936 kilometers. From Mombasa to
Cuba.
No, from Mombasa to Busia is 900 kilometers. Oh. From the border of Uganda to the north, where you will get now the original Sudan, is 1936 kilometers.
That's very far.
So it's not a very small country.
Not a small country. And I totally agree with Wakili Kagi because you can see even from what you highlighted in that landmark ruling and the kind of hope that the entire world had to see the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and other leaders. It was really a new day. It was a new morning for the people of South Sudan, and even the entire world was looking at this particular nation. Apparently, maybe most people feeling that maybe they were not doing well because of the oppression that they were getting when they were in the larger Sudan. It's quite unfortunate that maybe they've squandered the chance that they would have utilized very well now that they got independence and they ceased from the largest Sudan. And this goes again down to the issue of poor leadership.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
And the conflict have never ended. There's still some one or two issues that they have never solved, especially the internal conflict.
Exactly.
All right. I think we can relook at the previous question I had highlighted on the quacks or maybe cunning clients who stage manage calamities.
Oh, you're talking about fraud in insurance.
Yes.
It is the nature of things, and it is what it is, as we say these days. That whenever an accident occurs, there are people who may have motivation. The reward is very huge to add into the list of those who are injured and make a little money or a lot of money out of it. That is a reality. There is also those who may think that now that they have insured their car for 1 million shillings, and it can do them good if the car were to be a total loss, they take it to, I'm not giving anybody ideas, they drive it to Nyahururu and lose control of it down that escarpment, and it cannot be recovered. That is the reality of human affairs. Human affairs are not what we may call they are not like the affairs of God, where everything will happen the way it is meant to happen. Insurance fraud in Kenya is not a very small thing. It has wreaked havoc. It has forced insurance companies to litigate that is the most important thing, to litigate every compensation claim. Otherwise, if we were not having that problem, people could leave an accident scene, get a lawyer, fill up forms, wait for compensation from the insurance companies, avoid court litigation and that kind of a thing. But like the other aspects of our lives, that is also a reality, that people can create an insurance claim, can create paperwork for insurance claim for people who are not injured in the accident or for an event that has not occurred. People can burn down their houses
to be compensated.
You bring all the fridges, we borrow the fridges from all of us, put them in the house, all the expensive cookers. The insurance agent will come and take photos and look at them. Then we remove them and burn the house and say, you see what we had insured. That is suspected to have happened in some cases. So the insurance companies come to try and be careful and compensate only the correct claims.
And how do you say about the insurance now verifying the legitimacy of the claims, whether they are valid or not?
It is a very human endeavor. The facts will always speak for themselves. Insurance companies have invested heavily in investigation departments, in documentation departments, in checking the common things that they will check. Like the ones that work in the matatu industry, if an accident occurs involving a famous client of theirs, usually they send agents to the police station immediately. And they secure the list of those who were in the past. Now, another thing that is happening is that they are forcing people to pay by M-Pesa, so that we are for sure know that you are in that motor vehicle. So things are improving. At some point, the corners will be smooth, and there will be no fake claim in the system. They will be minimized to very low levels.
Yeah. Before we also continue, because we are heading to the close of the program, Mangicho, is now time for our legal profile.
Sure. Of course, we have our legal profile, the segment where we feature different legal personalities in the legal corridors. And today, the focus is on the gentleman on your screen, that is on Justice Eric Ogolla. On Justice Eric Ogolla. A few highlights about on Justice Eric Ogolla is that he was appointed judge of the High Court, that is way back in 2011. Served as presiding judge at Eldoret and the Mombasa High Court. He has a Masters of Laws, LLM degree in Maritime Law, University of Cape Town. Also has Bachelor's of Laws, LLB degree from the University of Nairobi, and a postgraduate diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law. The Justice Eric Ogolla was admitted to the bar, that is back in 1992. He's a founding lecturer at University of Nairobi, that is Mombasa campus. Has also been a consultant, World Bank and the Ministry of Transport, and promulgated rules and regulations on maritime legislation. Principal Judge of the High Court since 2022. And also the chair, High Court Advisory Committee, HISEC, and also certified mediator and trainer of trainees in the recovery of stolen assets. Yes, those are some of the highlights about on Justice Eric Ogolla. Yes, Kage.
He is not very vocal in the prominent cases in the country, but you can see where he is.
Has a reach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Judge Ogolla was my classmate actually in college.
Okay.
We went to college with him in the mid-80s, 86 to 90. He is a very good judge. It's difficult to speak of a friend in terms of reputation, but he is a good judge and an accomplished gentleman.
Yes.
I've appeared before him and suppressed an urge to smile, but then he's a good judge. Wow. It's good you bring this kind of a profile so that when next perhaps he comes to Nakuru as a presiding judge, people in our region know that they're receiving a very accomplished gentleman. Who has done a lot in law. He was originally in practice, and he went to Mombasa. I did a lot of maritime cases. Maritime cases are very rare. I have not done one in the past 33 years I've been working. So he has that speciality.
For the purposes of the viewer, when you talk about maritime cases, Wakili?
Maritime cases are cases that relate to the sea, the law of the sea.
The law of the sea.
The law of the sea regulates this kind of a thing: shipping, docking, something called wharfage. Like once an international ship comes into Mombasa and it is decanting, those are the terms they use, and it's removing some containers before it goes to the port of Beira in Mozambique, then it goes to the port of Durban in South Africa, all around the Cape. It is covered under particular laws. The amount of money it can pay, whether our police are allowed to go on board, whether they can inspect the ship, what the seamen can do, are they allowed into the country, and in what circumstances, who monitors them, and all that. The sea is is literally huge, and it's also a huge area. The ship may be originating think from Surabaya in Malaysia, and maybe going to Spain. In all those areas, it will pass through so many maritime zones with particular laws and regulations.
So, like now, Kenya has its maritime laws for the sea within it.
Yes, for the ocean that is within our boundaries. Once it comes here, there is a report, just like an aeroplane. When it is flying over here, it has to report to the mast and say, we are here. This is where we are headed.
Thank you. As we close the program, Mangicho, you can part us with the legal terminology.
The legal terminology for the day. Of course, you can also get an opportunity to educate yourself with a term in the legal corridors. I don't know whether it's pronounced like this, Kagi. Suasponte. Okay, is here. Yes,
I cannot even dare to pronounce.
Suasponte is Latin actually, which means of its own will. And often refers to a court taking an action in a case without being asked to do so by either side. So it means meaning of its own will. Often refers to a court taking an action in a case without being asked to do so by either side. Sua sponte.
Sua sponte. Is it a Latin? Is it a Greek?
Yeah, Latin.
That was, if you look at that word, it is very easy to get its etymology. It is the word spontaneous in Spanish. Yes, and the sua is yours. So it is your spontaneous act.
Wow.
And the pronunciation is not a problem. All the Latin languages, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, you pronounce every letter.
Wow.
That is all. Every letter. There is no hidden, like a silent letter in those languages. In Italian, Portuguese and Spanish.
In Spanish.
Yes.
Wow. You pronounce the way they are.
You pronounce every letter in the word, and that's the pronunciation.
Oh,
yes.
Nice. Right. We want to thank you, Wakili, for coming to our program today. And we want to wish you well in your endeavors, in your career.
Yes.
And thank you for heeding to our call anytime we need your guidance and legal guide. On behalf of the entire crew of the Legal Tuesday, my name is Paul Kagi. I wish you a blessed day ahead.
Of course, we are very grateful for making company with us for the Legal Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow for Leadership Wednesday. Make sure you tune in. My name is Mangicho Mola. Have a blessed afternoon.